Hi, it's Melissa and it's Heidi. Rootless Destinations here. Coming to you about Global Ghost Hunt. Yeah. So the first one for this year is April 25th to May 5th. So that is 10 days with multiple teams each day. Sign up your team. Please. Yes. You want us to see your investigation. You want us to see your location. Yes. Stick with us. That's what we're here for. We're here to talk about the team, to share the locations, to enjoy paranormal investigating.
We are very excited to be the brand ambassadors for Global Ghost Hunt. We're also very excited to do this. This will be our third time. So we're really excited about doing this again. We're excited to see old teams come back.
Yes.
We're excited for the new teams who are signing up. There are 2 packages. You guys got to check out which one's good for you. Get your team, get your location, sign up. What's the name of previous Global Ghost Hunts if they're not already familiar with that?
Well, if you want to check out the previous year's investigations, you just go to Global Ghost on YouTube, on Facebook. If you want to check out everything that is to know about Global Ghost Hunt and learn more information before signing up, you just go to globalghosthunt.com.
Yes.
You can
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah! What's going on, everybody? AJ Capasso here, host of Talking with the Source. I'm here with one of my best friends and other host, Jonathan Keyworth of JK47 Paranormal Investigations. What is up, brother?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good, man. Good. I had to do the little, scream in the beginning, little what? I was going to go with a little clap, golf clap, but I was like, no, let's go big, We have a great team coming on. What's up, Nando? How you doing? Thank you so much for checking it out, brother, and for everyone else that's in the room watching. We have an amazing team on today. They are called The Other Side. They are on Paraflex. They are also on Amazon Prime. They are an amazing team, amazing group of people. I can't wait to bring them forward. But first, we have a teaser video of their team, of their work, and I want to show that first. So let me play that right now for you guys.
Where are you?
Are you afraid to cross over?
That's not a human spirit.
I still say he's got followers.
Yeah, that's saying get out.
Isolation, addiction.
I just got a bad feeling about letting whatever that is out.
Were you ever a being of the light?
Have you seen Chris?
I think just the energy of pain and anguish.
It's like it's almost hard to breathe.
Hey, I need to get out of here.
I'm giving you a warning not to go back down there.
I'm upset now.
Okay.
Felt like every door that you passed, there was something going to reach out and grab you.
I'm scared. I'm not.
I say no.
But we're here to get answers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Regina and Steve of The Other Side. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for tuning in with us and coming on the show. We cannot thank you guys enough.
We're happy to be here.
Thank you.
So first thing I wanted to ask was, Regina, I know that we talked in the back, and I know you have your own paranormal team. You kind of started the other side. Please talk a little bit about how you got into the paranormal first, and how you got in touch with Steve, and how all this began.
As I said, as we were talking before, I've been a paranormal investigator for 14 years. I always had an interest in it. As a child, I had many experiences, but my love for the paranormal didn't really start till 14 years ago. My sister committed suicide, and she started coming to me in dreams, leaving me messages and signals and signs that she was around. And actually went on my very first ghost hunt at the Stanley Hotel in Estes, Colorado, where they filmed The Shining. And I got an EVP of a man that said my sister's name, and my sister's name was Nikki, so it was not like a common name.
Yeah.
So I knew at that point that this was something that I had to do. This was a calling. It's been a journey. And I never really knew what people talked about when they had a passion for something until I started in this field. So I started my journey. And several years ago during the pandemic, when it very first started, I had this idea. I'm like, we have so many people that communicate with spirit in different ways. Why are we all not working together? Yes, these TV shows bring mediums, or they bring, other people on. But why are we not all collectively working together to find answers? Because I communicate in one way, being an investigator. Steve communicates in another way, being a shaman. So why aren't we working together to see if what I get on my equipment is the same as what somebody else gets? So I was lucky that my friend Chris Martin has a production company and was looking for an idea for a new show. I presented it to her, and we've just started down this road, and it's been amazing. So our cast and crew consists of 2 paranormal investigators. Steve is our shaman. We have a tarot card reader, a medium, a bone reader. Haley is our intuitive. We're adding a hoodoo practitioner, and the list is just going to go on and on to see if we all can get into these locations and get the same answers and get the same results.
That is amazing. I want to first say I apologize for your loss. That is a very hard thing to go through. I've lost recently a friend to suicide, unfortunately, a couple days ago, and it's a very hard thing to go through. And I couldn't imagine losing someone as close as you did. But I am, in a way, I'm thankful that she was able to come through to you, because it brought you down this path and brought you to getting to meet you. So I'm thankful to her for bringing you forward. So
Thank you. I'm sorry for your loss as well.
no, thank you, thank you. But please finish on what you were saying. I apologize.
No, it's fine. It's just with this show, we're hoping to set out obviously a different type of paranormal show, but we also want to bring education and awareness to people that they're, just because someone speaks to spirit in a different way, it's not all what Hollywood is about. It's not all evil and demonic and everything else. Yes, you run across those, but we want to bring people who have a curiosity in some of these fields. We also have a Wiccan witch. I forgot to add that as well. So if someone is interested in something, by watching the show, hopefully it'll give them more education and someone to relate to as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. John, please go ahead, brother.
No, man. So this first time we've had a shaman on the show. So Steve, what is a shaman, man? Can you break it down for us, and how is your spiritual journey going?
Shaman, the definition of a shaman in the traditional ways and the archaic ways are quite different than what a shaman is now. It has expanded, or at least it should. A shamanic practitioner has to get out of that box that it's been in for so many years. I listened to AJ and Regina talk, and I guess my journey actually started with a death as well. That when my mother passed is when I had a big awakening. And in shamanic tradition, we do go through a shamanic death and a rebirth. I went through that, where I had 2 near-death experiences, and actually crossed over and communicated with who I am guessing is an angelic or my guides. And so I knew that you can't argue that. You can't argue that once it happens. You know it's real. A shaman, though, at least where I come from, ultimately is a seeker of truth. And that means usually going, ironically enough, to the source, and because that's where the truth comes from, not from books and everything else. So I did my shamanic apprenticeship, and I learned all the traditional ways, but I've expanded on that, bringing in from outside sources. Like Regina says, we shouldn't shut anybody out because everybody out there has a kernel of truth in their belief system. So I bring in Kabbalah, I bring in all kinds of different beliefs into the shamanic practice. I've never done a paranormal investigation until this show. Which was a little different because I'm used to helping the living deal with their spiritual issues, which often involves past loved ones that have passed and things of that nature. But I've never actually, I guess, directly dealt with the other side until the show. So that put a whole new spin on where I was and where I was going. And I've learned so much. And I've picked up all these different, from Colleen, from the Wiccan Witch, which, as I have recently seen, they expected her and I to have a clash, because I'm not sure why, but her and I got along so well, and we saw there was so much in common that we learned so much from each other, and we became quite close. And it just, I'm a big believer in this blurring the lines. And I wrote a book, Simpatico, on the same wavelength, in agreement, and to explain that ancient wisdom and spirituality and science are all speaking to the same thing.
Amen. I tell you what, you guys could not have said it better than anything. I mean, that is one of the biggest things that I love to talk about on this show, is bringing everybody together to work together. I am so tired of seeing in this field everybody try to bash each other, or like take advantage of each other, or try to use for viewers or for followers to become the next Zach Bagans or whatever they want to become, and it's so sad because it's like, if we put all of our knowledge together, we would be so much further in this field, I believe, than we are. And it's just so great to see a team like yourself bringing all of this together. And then you yourself, Steve, having your background as being a shaman and being able to work with, say, a Wiccan witch, or like you said, a bone. What'd you say it was? A bone reader?
Bone reader, bone thrower.
Bone thrower, like that, and to be able to be with these other people that you may not agree completely with, but like you said, they do have their core truths to it that you could learn something from, maybe. So it's like you take what you can and you leave the rest. And I think that that's so important for us to do in this field. So I love that. I think that's so awesome. So awesome.
Yeah, Steve. So when you help people, what's your method? How what do you do to help them out with their spiritual energy?
There's not one cookie cutter answer to that, because everything. I started with shamanic healing, which is an energetic healing, and so I do vibrational restoration, energetic chakra energy healing of people, because that during a trauma that is recorded in your energetic bodies, and that does then manifest physically into other things. But I really focused on the ancient shamanic soul retrieval, which is the equivalent of psychological equivalent of dissociation, where people lose pieces of themselves to the point where they're no longer functional, they're no longer the same person. And I help bring that back and restore that back to become whole again. I do help people with, I guess the whole point of that is really to heal the trauma, whatever that trauma is. It's the loss of a loved one, if it's abuse, if it's neglect, it's whatever that trauma is. I do that Vulcan mind meld to get into their energy and read back, because they're not even really, most of the time, they're not even really clear on what the trauma is, because when they dissociate, a lot of the memories go with them.
Yep.
And so I go in there and see what's going on, where it all started, because that's what has to be healed. You could go get your chakras balanced and everything once a month, but until you heal that wound that's causing it, it will just keep coming back. And you can't be whole. But if you can't be whole, then, I mean, that's the whole point. That's why we're here, is to grow and evolve.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Regina, I wanted to ask you now, being in the paranormal for 14 years, what have you seen throughout your time being in this field that has frightened you to your core? Is there anything?
I mean, are you talking human beings? Because they frighten me.
Well,
every
no,
day.
human beings are always frightening. I'm talking ghost wise, like
versus
research
I
wise.
mean, live people scare me more than the dead. But
Right.
I have had one terrifying experience that I did have several years ago. I was at St. Albans in Radford, Virginia. I don't know if either of you have been out there. It was an old insane asylum. It was a boys' school. And I actually had something enter my body and take over. And that's the first and only time that I've ever had that happen.
Oh, wow.
So my memory of it is very vague. It was only 9 minutes and 38 seconds that I was in that room. And I only know that because my recorder was on. So, but yeah, something actually entered my body. And I don't remember leaving the room. I don't remember anything that happened in the room. I had 2 other investigators with me. They said they called my name several times. I did not respond. It sounded like I was in a tunnel. Like I could hear them doing their spirit box session. But they were very, very far away. And they said when I did turn around, my face was not my face. I looked completely different. And the next thing I remember is being outside the building, walking around in the parking lot. So I literally lost time. So I'm fairly convinced that something entered me.
That's creepy, man.
Wow.
Yeah. It is.
That is a very creepy thing. And I couldn't imagine the feeling of that. Like, what did you feel as it entered you? Did you feel anything, or did it happen just so quick that there was nothing
I
you
didn't
couldn't?
feel anything. I just kind of felt like I was entering a tunnel, and everything just went black, and I could still hear them, but they kept getting farther and farther away. Wow. So it wasn't like a jerk reaction where, like on movies and TV where it enters your body and you make all these
of course,
jolts and whatever. No, it was very, very subtle. It was like it was like falling into a hole.
The reason why I asked that question was because for me, Steve, as you said earlier about you had near-death experience, I did too as well. That's how I got into this field. I'm a recovering heroin addict, and I died 12 times. And the last time that I died, I remember everything of where I went, what I saw, the beings, everything, and who I spoke to. And it was a very extreme experience. But the reason why I asked you that, Regina, was because for my experience when I crossed to the other side and remembered everything, it was like I literally was just here and I went to sleep and I was gone. And I was just there. It was not like something different. So I wanted to find out, when something entered your body, was it like you just went unconscious, or was it a slow reaction? So when you said, it was like a tunnel and they were getting farther and farther away, I know exactly what you meant by that. But that's so crazy. Imagine, have you ever went back to this place?
That was the second time that I had been there, and I have not been back. And like I said, that was the only time in all my years of doing this that has ever happened. And it is a scary experience because you have no control over it. But again, we're working in a field that we're asking things to come towards us that we don't know what they are. So you always have to be mindful.
Amen. Steve, were you with her during this and then, or were you friends with her at this time?
Not at that particular event, but I mean, I can say that, I mean, that happens a lot more than people would like to believe. It happens. Regina's case, I mean, it was like a full-on, almost an attack. Most of the time, it's it's really an insidious process where they work their way in subtly and gradually. And that's actually part of my training, though, is the depossession work to be able to remove these things that influence or even possess you, to take those out and remove them from other people, because it is a scary thing, and you lose. It takes over. It can take over to where it's not even you anymore.
Yeah. No, I know that experience. I had an experience with a Ouija board before I got into this field. I was 15. I challenged whatever it was that was on this board that was negative, like an idiot. And I was like, "Oh yeah, me and my friend with all these kids around." I'm like, let's take our hands off the planchette just a little bit, see if it moves on its own where we're not touching it, because I don't believe in any of this. At the time, I was not even a believer in God. And whatever followed me home from that thing, and that planchette did move without our hands on it in front of 14 other kids. I was it affected me for over 5 years. It literally gradually mentally broke me down to the point where I had
Yes.
to get locked up in a mental hospital for a couple of days because my family was thought I was going to either kill myself or kill them and myself, one of the two. It was that bad. My anger would be going nuts one minute on my family, on my grandparents, and the next minute I'd be crying my eyes out for no reason. I'm like, what is going on with me? Like, and it was just like this slow thing. And then once I finally went to a cleansing, and got all the thing that I need to do to get it out of me through at a church through a minister. It was like this weight was lifted off me, and I never experienced that feeling again. But I tell you, I feel like I have a residue left from it, like a feeling of something left from it, from just an attachment in general. I don't know if that's something that's common, Steve. Is that, or is that just something maybe I'm just thinking?
It's kind of hard to say. Yes, there can be residual effects, and you and I probably need to talk. Sounds like you had some
I would love to.
soul retrieval and some other things. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and a lot of times people, when you're open up to that, Regina alluded to that. You almost people do invite them in a lot of times and don't even like the Ouija board. You invited
Yes.
that thing in.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to shut that out too, because just because you get rid of one thing doesn't mean another one's going to come slide in behind it.
Yeah.
And so, you have to do, there's protocol. I mean, I'm not there, and there are more. I know that my methods, I have my methods of doing it. I'm sure, and the church, of course, has its own methods of doing things like that. And you have to watch it though. You have to make sure, because I did basically an exorcism some years ago when I was training, and I wasn't really ready for it, but that's part of the training, and it wrecked me. I took a 6-month sabbatical just to recuperate from that. So
Yeah.
it's not something to take lightly, no.
No, definitely. And it was funny because if I knew then what I know now from being in this field for like almost 10 years now, I would have never done what I did then. I would have never challenged any of that, you know what I mean? But I really thought it was all hogwash. I thought it was just a bunch of, nonsense and like everything, like angels, demons, all that. I just thought all of it was just folklore when I was a young kid. And just because of losing, a family member when I was younger, I was mad at God or whatever, and I wanted to be revengeful or an anarchy type punk rock kid, and I definitely learned my lesson very quickly, and that's something that this field does teach you if you don't show it respect.
Oh, definitely. Spirit likes to hand your ass to you sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So,
and that's what a lot of people don't realize when they watch these shows. It's like there's a protocol that has to be performed. As you'll see in the show, I mean, we say prayers. Steve does his stuff over us with sage And I don't want to give all the details away because we'd like everybody to watch the show. But, you know, when you open up equipment, no matter what it is, whether it's paranormal equipment, a Ouija board, whatever, it's a communication device. It has to be closed. You have to cut that cord and tell them they're not allowed to come through. They're not allowed to follow you home. You're not allowed to attach yourself to anybody. And that's what the movies and TVs don't show. It's like, okay, you open this up and then everything comes flying through, and it just is like, okay, you have to take the steps to do that. Yes.
Yeah.
The thing is, so even and I like the protection and all that, it's all great, but there's always that one time where an entity or whatever will disregard and break those laws anyway. And
I was about to ask that.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, that actually makes it a little bit easier to remove them because they've broken laws. But still, yeah, you have to be so careful, so cautious on opening and closing. And I love that we put up protection before we went on the investigation. We did cleansing after the fact. I don't know if most teams do that or not, but they should, I think.
They should, yeah, definitely. So before, Steve, you were talking about your spirit guides, and that's something I firmly believe in, is, you know, that we're assigned spirit guides and they're here to keep us on our path. Do you call on your spirit guides when you go on these investigations to help protect you, or what do you think about your guides? What do you do to bring them into your methods?
I ask everybody I know to come in to protect me and my team at all times. I mean, so yeah, I work in my work. I have, over the years, I have earned the blessing to work with my gods, my power animals, some levels of the angelic and the higher realms, and I call on everybody to protect us when we do these kind of things, because you never know what you're going to walk into.
Yeah, no, amen to that. I mean, me and him, he asked for his ancestors, I asked for mine. We asked for even the Native American spirits to give permission to come to a location. When we go to one, we, you know, get on the ground, we do our little ceremony that we do for ourselves and for the spirits, and ask permission, and then we go into the location. And we found that doing that has been really producing a lot of evidence for us. You know, because we're being so respectful, you know, and that's really what it's about, is that respect and your intent that you go into these places.
Intentions, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a funny story, but it's really not. It's really kind of a tragedy. But I did have one paranormal team that did some sort of ceremony they wanted to open up so they would have a very successful and exciting investigation, and they did.
I bet
they opened up some kind of vortex, and all kinds of things came through, and they were all just it really got quite nasty. And of course, then they were calling me, you got to help, you know, remove all these things and to close that vortex. So we go back to, you got to close. But they opened up some really nasty things, and so the people that dabble in any of this, I mean, they were, again, knowledge, learning. Don't jump in and do something silly or stupid. I mean, I felt really comfortable in our investigation because everybody seemed to really kind of know what they were doing. You know, everybody there was enough experience there.
I'm about to say, expertise there, yeah.
And so, even though none of us are experts, we have experience, and we've still continued to learn, and we know enough to cover our ass going in. And the respect is huge. When you respect spirit, spirit respects you. You know.
Yeah, I firmly believe that. I truly believe that with the bottom of my heart. It's all your intentions. You know, if you're going in there to try to get business and stuff, I mean, you're just opening yourself up to a whole world of hurt.
Right.
Now, I wanted to ask both you and Regina. First, Regina, I wanted to ask you this. How does it make you feel when you see other teams, or even teams on, say, YouTube or wherever you'd see them, like go in and start using provocation? How does that make you feel personally as an investigator being for 14 years and someone who goes in with respect and really respects this field? How does it make you feel? Because I know for me, it bothers me when I see that because it's like, one, yes, I understand what you're doing, but
Mhm.
also knowing that, deeper down that these are souls, these are human beings, these are just us, just not in the physical. It's like you're really berating someone's family. But what is your personal opinion on the matter?
I never go in provoking.
Yeah.
I'm in the mindset of, 90% of these locations that we go into, these were human spirits. You
Yeah.
need to be respectful of them. They were people, they had lives, they had families. So, again, it comes down to the respecting the spirits that are in the space. And we tend to get a lot more activity, like you said, if you go in with an open heart and open mind and treat them like you'd want to be treated as a
Yep.
human. A lot of them don't know that they're dead on the other side. A lot of them don't know that they're stuck in a location. So if we can get answers and help them, but they're willing to communicate to us because we're showing them respect. I mean, that means everything. So no,
Yeah.
provocation is not really the way to go. I mean, again, like you said, I understand why people do it. Ghost
Yeah.
hunting, and this is the thing, ghost hunting is not what you see on TV, as you know. It's a
No.
lot of hours sitting around doing nothing. Nothing's
Hmm.
happening, but we all live for that one moment where it's 5-10 minutes of everything blowing up, and
Yeah.
voices and shadows and footsteps, and that's what
It's
keeps
like
us going.
fishing,
Yes,
you
exactly.
know?
That's what a lot
Yeah.
of people say. It's comparable to fishing. So
Yeah.
um yeah, again, I think it all just comes down to respect.
Absolutely. And Steve, how about you? What's your personal opinion on provocation?
That's a hard no on the provocation. And
Amen.
in addition to the respect, there needs to be a compassion. Because if you're and again, yeah, I understand you want the answers, but what's the old saying? You get more flies with honey, right? And so
Hmm.
you show the compassion, you show the respect, and you really have to kind of bear in mind too that a lot of these locations that you go to, these spirits are getting hounded by investigators daily. They get
Yes.
tired of that. I mean, they're wore out. They're looking for the real deal. And if they
Yeah.
see, and they do, they sense and they know the real deal. And I think that's why we were successful, is because we went in there in the right mindset and the right intentions and the right way.
It's so funny how you just said that the last thing you said about spirit and the way that they act, the what you just said, I can't remember the words you just said. I can't believe it just had a brain fart there. But it's funny that you said that because when we went to Montana State Prison, me and John, um, I believe Jerry Miles up in I believe that was his name, right? Jerry Miles was the one that we had the cat balls going off, John, all the time up in the
Oh
death
yeah,
tower. It
it
was
was
wild. And
one of them.
working with
Yeah.
him, yeah, working with that spirit, he saw that we actually wanted to help, and he was setting off every device, talking through the spirit box like crazy. I mean, on command. It was just so amazing to see. And you're right. I think they do see. This is what you said. They do see the real deal, and then they do see people that come in that are just there to make them do magic tricks for them. It seems like,
Yeah, right.
like it's a circus for them, I understand. Like I said, I understand why people enthusiasts do go in and they don't have the same mindset as like us who like actually want to look at this as a research and really look at this as a very serious aspect. There are people that go in that don't have that, and I get it. But you know like you said, these are people that we're dealing with. This is not just a spirit, it's actual human beings, and you have to show that respect and love. And I do believe, like you said, they see the real and they see the fake, and you definitely know the difference for sure.
And sometimes you do have to explain to them that they are dead. Like
Yeah.
Regina
Yeah.
said, they don't realize it. They don't understand, and they're lost and they're confused, and so that they need someone to explain all that and walk them through it. And if it's appropriate, you cross them over.
Yeah, we had with the Jerry Miles thing, we had the guy literally like say to us like he was scared to cross over because he was scared God was going to judge him.
Yeah,
And I'm like, no, like that's not how it is. Like it's not that way. Calm down. Like we're trying to like make him understand. Like, listen, what you learned in our physical life is a little bit different than what we were told. I was like, trust me, I crossed over on the other side. I didn't get yelled at. I said, so don't worry.
Well, even the thing that pissed me off was when we first got there, the lady said, you got to sign this waiver. And in the waiver, it says you cannot cross over the spirits. I'm like, who are
Oh,
you to say
I
that we
know.
can't do that?
I've
I'm like,
wondered.
how are you going to prove it? Are you going to sue me if I cross the spirit? I was like,
yeah.
I'm going to help spirit if they need help. Like,
Well,
I'll know
I
if
that's
told
they
her.
need help.
right. That's because you're messing with their income. They're
It
they're,
is.
they're making money off of it, and that's
But
why. You
you
You're
know.
know,
using them like monkeys, you know? That's
exactly.
horrible.
What I said to the lady was, I said, what if that was your grandmother or your mother in there or your child in there? Would you want them stuck there just because you're making a buck? And who's to say that even if you did cross these spirits over, their energetic footprint is still in this location, right? So who's to say that they wouldn't say, come back to that location? Not saying that they don't want to stay there, but I'm saying, like, who say that they wouldn't
Giving
come
them the
back for a
freedom to come
memory?
back. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at least they get a chance to leave and have that free will again instead of being stuck and knowing that they're not staying there. I mean, because I've had spirits come to me and personal at my house and say thank you for helping them cross over. And it's just an amazing thing to hear. You know, we had this little boy, David, come through and we found his grave at the cemetery, the children's cemetery and everything. And he came through, said his full name. And then he came through a couple weeks later at my house and said thank you. And it was just so amazing because when we go back to this place, he'll come through sometimes. And it's like, we released him, but he still chooses to come back here. So it's like, I don't think it's going to mess with the income of these places, but people are so twisted and don't have the knowledge to understand, like, you know, you got to let these people go. Like, that's the whole point of death, is to, you know, not be stuck with these, you know, negative emotions and stuff anymore, you know, the baggage.
You know, I've wondered about that because it is kind of a gray area. You are dealing with someone's income, and you are dealing with someone else's property, but
Yeah.
yet the souls and the spirits, they are their own entities.
Yeah. It's a
It's kind of
hard.
it's a conundrum, you know, because it is. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if the spirit, the soul, spirit itself says, "Please help me,"
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that kind of overrides everything. And
That's the way I look at it. That's
I
the
mean,
way I look at it.
would you not help someone in the living form that came to you and it's like, I
right,
need help? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what Steve was talking about with the whole thing of compassion. It's
Yeah.
like, we have to have that for the spirit world as well.
Amen to that.
I mean,
Amen
if
to
there's
that.
any doubt, you turn the camera off and do your thing, and it's
Yeah.
done.
Exactly. I mean, I ended up telling the lady at the end, I'm like, you know what, I cross spirits over. If you want to get mad at me, sue me, whatever, do what you got to do. I said, I'm all about reserving these locations. I'm all about preserving the locations. I am not against that one bit. But to hold and say that you can't cross the spirit over if the spirit's begging you, that I see is wrong. So that's where my gray area comes in. Like you just said, Steve, you know, if the soul asks for it, that kind of overrides to me everything. I do try to listen. Obviously, like when they ask for no Ouija boards or none of that stuff, obviously I wouldn't be stupid enough to do any of that there, or you know whatever any other guidelines that they had. I don't mind doing that. But when it comes to crossing a spirit over that's asking for help, it just touches my heart, and I can't say no to that. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
Form of
we are totally about preserving the locations for sure.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned the energetic blueprint, and I see that a lot, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. That's not a spirit, that's not a soul, that is it's a residue.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that picks up on equipment, Regina. Do you know?
I
Does
was just gonna ask Regina, yeah, if you've had that experience as well.
Well, I mean, there's a thing called the stone tape theory where it's
Yep.
residual energy that just repeats itself, depending on
yeah,
the location, and it just is on a loop. It just it's going to happen whether we're there or not. So I mean, but a lot of people think that, oh, I've caught something, or I've got this or got that. It's like, no, it's going to happen whether you were there or not. It's residual. It's just an imprint. It's
Yeah.
just, it's like watching the same movie over and over again.
But does your equipment register that? Just as
you may pick up on sounds like through recorders, but it's not going to interact with you intelligently.
Yeah, not intelligently. No,
right.
yeah.
So it may pick up some of the things. It may not pick up all of the things.
Yeah.
No, there's a place here in Colorado where this guy's stuck on a loop. It's called the Riverdale Road, and you go to this parking lot and you stand in the northwest corner of this parking lot, and you just stand there and you wait like 30 seconds, and then you'll start getting real cold, and then right in the gravel you hear you hear somebody run right past you, and then it just starts over again, and it just keeps doing it. You can't interact with it, but I mean, it's so weird to feel and hear that energy happening.
You know, that brings up a good question. I wanted to ask you this, Regina, as and Steve as well too. So do you think that a spirit like that, say that if that's a residual, say haunting or whatever, okay, but do you believe that a spirit can be put on loop like that, and because of the traumatic death that they might have had, and until they cross over, until someone helps them cross over, or do you think that type of loop stuff is really just stone tape theory and it is a residual haunting? What would your
I
guys' opinion
I
be on
would
that?
hope they're not stuck in the loop.
Yeah.
I really would hope that. I hope it is just residual.
Mm,
So I would tend to lean more towards they're not stuck there. It's just something that's
yeah.
just happening.
That's what I figured too. That's what, from all of my experiences, that's what I figured. How about you, Steve? What do you think?
I'm not real sure. I mean, I think it's possible. I think anything is possible.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, for example, and of course we're going to go to some extremes, but if it's the result of dark magic or a curse or something along those lines, it could literally be a soul that is imprisoned and stuck in that space time.
Yeah. No, I mean it's possible, 100%.
Of course, that's kind of a whole different scenario
Yeah.
where you'd have to deal with the dark, all that too. But,
Mhm.
but I would say that's an extreme and rare
Of course. Of course.
situation.
But
So
I
I
mean,
think,
look at quantum mechanics and quantum entanglement now that we're all learning about. So that quantum realm is like everything we're now learning about energy, wavelengths, all that type of stuff. It's possible. I mean, I wouldn't see that not being possible. But like I was telling Regina, I haven't personally came across something like that yet. But who's to say that it's not, not possible, Because I mean, but like you said, is that an extreme? I mean, probably, definitely. But I say, why not, right? You know?
right, I mean, you can't exclude all possibilities have to play out, right? That's
Exactly.
quantum physics and everything else. So it could happen, and I think some of the mistakes people make are is they don't believe in the darker side of things either. That could be there are curses, there are spells, there are things out there that can bind living and the dead.
Mm,
I think we saw that at the prison.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of that was energetic blueprint. Some of it was spirits or souls that were just basically imprisoned in the prison or stuck there for whatever reason. Um, and so you never know. You
mm,
never know. And what we encountered in these investigations was that darker side there for several times. There was a darker entity, and you can't trust what they tell you. You have to
exactly.
figure it out on your own.
Mm,
Uh,
yeah.
so you're always
No, I
thinking,
totally agree.
yeah.
Sorry, Steve. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah,
Apologies.
yeah, I thought it was interesting that because in my experience when we were doing this is it's like you had to be thinking on your feet all the time
What's time?
and ready for whatever, and it was a great experience. I loved it. And
Mm,
it put a whole different spin on just everything.
yeah. No, definitely. I totally agree with you, man. Totally agree with you. Regina, what do you see? Sorry, John. I'm gonna have you ask a question. One sec. I just want to ask Regina this quick question because I'm gonna lose it if not. I wanted to ask you, where do you see the other side going? What is your goal? Like, what is in the future for you guys? Please talk a little bit about it.
Well, right now, we're in the state, we're self-funded. So,
Yep.
we have to raise enough money to be able to film more episodes. We do have a spot fund out on our Facebook page and our website. So if someone feels like donating, we'd love that.
Mm,
But right now, the producers are in, looking into different locations, and they will not tell us what those locations are. They want us to be surprised when we go out to do filming. They don't want us to be able to do any research. It's just going to go us going in blind, which I would prefer anyway.
yeah.
um, But so we're in the process of, again, raising enough money to film 8 episodes for a full first season. And then we're always looking for new cast members, people who have different abilities, think outside the box, different religions, anybody that we think would mesh well with our current cast that we have now. And again, it's like Steve said, blurring the lines and trying different ways of communication. You know, obviously Steve communicates in a different way than I do. Our Wiccan Witch communicates different. Our tarot card reader gets information different. Our medium gets information different ways. And like I said, we've added a bone thrower, which a lot of people don't even know what that is.
I was about to ask you that. That was my next question after John asked something, but please keep going.
We've added a hoodoo practitioner. So again, it's people who are speaking to spirit in different ways, and we're blurring those lines and educating people that, you know, this is not all what people see in the movies. We're real people. We want to communicate. We want to find answers, and that's what we're in search of. So. Yeah. So we're in the beginning stages. Long answer to that question. We're in the beginning stages. We have 1 episode out now. Our episode is on Paraflix and Amazon Prime. It's called The Others with an S side. Cool. So we'd love for anybody to go out there and take a look and let us know what you think.
Absolutely.
I'm checking it out, man. After this, I'm going to go watch it.
Please do.
I got my TV already set up, so I beat you to it. But no, I'm super excited for you guys, and I can't wait for more episodes because I know that what you guys are bringing to the table for this field and for people to see on TV, which is so very important, I believe, is everything you guys are doing. Just bringing every group of culture, religion, faith, belief, anything you can think of together and really making it just work. And I think that that's so awesome of all of you guys to have an open enough mind group of people to get them together to actually work together, because a lot of people, their egos kind of clash. So it's amazing to see amazing people like yourselves keep doing what you're doing. So keep up the great work. John, please go ahead and ask the next question.
Yeah, I was just going to ask Regina, you know, being an investigator for so long, you know, what is your go-to piece of equipment? What equipment do you have to have on every investigation?
Well, first and foremost, the best piece of equipment that you can have for anybody out there is your own body. Listen to your body, feel the things that are happening to your body. They'll let you know that something's around. But my number one go-to piece of equipment is the dowsing rods. There's no electronics to it. Spirits, older spirits, it's something that they can relate to. It's not something that's going to hurt or harm them. It doesn't light up. It doesn't make noise. It's very, very easy to communicate with that. And we do use that in the episode. So you will see us use dowsing rods quite often. At least for me, I will always be a lover of them.
I got mine.
Yep, I got mine too. I love them. I think they're great. I mean, it's one of the best tools in my opinion. And it's so great that you said dowsing rods, because every time we have somebody on, it's always an electronic piece that they always come up with, which I think is awesome as well. But I love when someone comes on and has, you know, what we would call archaic pieces that we use. You know what I mean? Because those, in my opinion, are still the best. I mean, look at the Panasonic DR60. People love that recorder. I mean, it's the oldest recorder out there, but you know, they say that it's the best for the EVPs. I mean, do I agree? In a way, I do. Do they have the best quality? No, but still, I think it works out pretty good. And I think those type of pieces of equipment are the best. But like you said, nothing beats your body.
Right. And the dowsing rods are easy to use. A lot of people are skeptical of them, but I'm so willing to hand them over and say, here, you do it. Here, you feel the spirit pull them apart. I've even done investigations where I'll hold one, stand next to an investigator, and they'll hold one and say, how can we fake this? They're crossing, they're pulling apart. So, you know, it's using them in a different way to prove that we're not doing it.
You know, I never thought about doing that. That's really awesome to have another investigator hold. That's so cool. Now for you, Steve, how about for you? What would be your go-to as a shaman? What would be your piece besides your body? Because I know body is going to be a number one. So besides your body, what would be your tool that you would go to use? Oops, sorry about
that. You know what? I've never really thought about that.
Got
Of
him.
course, pendulum, but yeah, I mean, pendulums are great, and they
Yeah.
operate along the same lines as a dowsing rod, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not
Oh, no.
sure.
Yeah.
But the pendulums pick up on that. I use a form of kinesiology, asking questions and letting the answers come through using the fingers. I never go anywhere without my protection, and I do have I had this made, and it's a form of the Star of David. It's called the Shaddai. If you know the story of Solomon, I don't know
Yeah.
if we can get
Yeah, I
that,
can see it. Yeah. Wow.
but if there is a dark, demonic, or any kind of really dark entities or influences, there the inverted triangle tarnishes,
Wow.
so that I know what we're dealing with, and
It actually tarnishes,
it
really.
actually tarnishes, yeah. The
Wow.
inverted and the upright triangle, of course, it stays silver, it's pure silver, and it's been made, specifically for that, really.
Wow, that is
So,
awesome, Steve.
so that's
That is the
kind of my
coolest thing I've ever heard. I'm
that's
sorry, that is awesome.
that's kind of
Makes me
my
think of that movie Constantine when he pulls out all those medallions.
I love that show, and
I
there's
do.
so much to that. I mean, and I've always said the Catholic Church has all the good stuff hidden away.
Oh,
Okay.
definitely.
But
Definitely.
Constantine, but I think it is it's what you sense. I mean, and if your gut tells you or something's not right, that's your first indication, and then your second indication is to dig deeper to see is that true? Is it just something else? Maybe
Yeah.
just because it feels icky doesn't mean it's bad or dark or evil.
Yeah.
And that's, again, here is the premise of the show. It's learning from each other, learning different techniques and different ways to do things.
Yeah, and when you have three different people with three different methods and they all point to the same result, I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
It gives confirmation, and so yeah, it's all a good thing. But
Absolutely.
So
I just find it
I
amazing to
want to
have
know
all
more
the
about
backgrounds. Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, I want to know more about the bone throwing. How does she do
Yeah,
that?
you got to tell us a little bit, just a little.
Maybe we can come back on and get May to come on the show,
Please,
and
please,
she can talk
yes.
about it. But it's she has ancestors that help her, or spirit guides, however you want to call them. And she has a big bowl of bones and little trinkets and different things that she's collected or drawn to. And she shakes the bowl and dumps it out. And however the bones and the trinkets lay and cross, the meaning of them has different things, and how it lands on the board, and the board's divided. It really is an interesting process. I had never come across it before. And I had met May. We had held a paranormal expo, my team and a couple other paranormal teams locally here. And she was actually a vendor. And I'm like, she's so amazing. Like, we have to have her on the show. Exactly like Yahtzee. It really is kind of like that. I mean, she has all different kinds of things, and she just gives a reading on how everything lands and overlays. It's really interesting.
It is a tool of divination, then, right? I mean, that's it's a divination tool.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've never seen it. I'd like to see it done.
Yeah, I've read about it. I've never seen it in person, so I can't wait to see that. That is going to be so cool to see. I mean, just to learn how to like figure out what it means when one crosses or one lays a certain way. I mean, the knowledge in that sounds so interesting.
Yeah, unfortunately, she wasn't in our first pilot episode, but she's definitely on board to be in future episodes. So.
Well, I look forward to that. That is going to be absolutely awesome. Now, is there any upcoming filming that you guys are going to be doing, or guys just in the process of still raising the money for the next
We're
episode?
in the process of raising money. Anybody who knows, who has done any kind of filming, that it all takes money. Everything. Money makes the world go round. So, like I said, we're in the process of trying to raise enough funds to film our first 8 episodes.
Definitely. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on. John, you want to ask one more question before I ask the last question?
Dude, I got
No?
so many. I could probably go like another hour, but I don't
Oh, I
want to.
know. That's why we got to have them back on, you know?
We gotta get your whole team on if we
Yeah,
just have
for
everybody
real.
going.
Yep. But so I want to ask a little kind of a fun question before you guys go for each of you. Regina, I'll start with you.
Chris is
Actually, Chris,
asking.
yeah, where can we donate? Can you
Um,
tell them again, please?
on our Facebook page, we have a spot fund, and then on our website as well, we have a link to where you can donate, and it's all under the others side. The website is creepstreetproductions.com, which is scrolling over the top here. So yeah, we certainly don't expect anybody to help us. There's lots of things to donate to and lots of charities that need help, and we understand that. But if you feel it in your heart to help us out, we'd love that.
Yeah, please do, guys, because I tell you, I have an amazing team like this out now for people to watch and have an open-minded view on this
Mhm.
way is so important, in my opinion, for this field. And it helps show other people that we all need to work together. And like I said, I think that's so amazing. I love when I see that. I love when we have on husband and wife teams, anybody working together like that. Just really warms my heart in this field because of the division that we see so much in this field. But I want to thank you guys so much for coming on. But before you go, I have one question, and that is for Regina and Steve. If money was not an option, and you can go and investigate anywhere in the entire world and use any equipment you wanted in the entire world, what would be the location, and what would be the piece of equipment, if there is one?
God, that's so hard. There's so many great places. I would probably hit up some places in Europe just because it's so much older, and
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
spirits I think are different over there than they are here, and there's so many different belief systems over there. I don't have one particular place, but again, I would travel with my dowsing rods. I
Yep.
definitely would travel with those.
Awesome. Steve, for you.
I agree with Regina. I'd want to go to Europe to like old castles or ruins or something
Right.
like that. But as far as like here in the States, I want to go to the French quarters.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I want to spend like 2 weeks in Louisiana down there, and
If it happens to be during Mardi Gras, that's a bonus, right?
all the
There you
better.
go.
Ever since I saw the originals on Netflix, I want to go there. I'm just like drawn there.
Yep.
So the dowsing rods, I have to say, I like those. I like those better. I understand them better than most of the other equipment, except for that. And Reggie, you'll have to help me because I don't know if it was a camera. And it picked
It's an
up the
SLS
energy.
camera.
SLS, yeah.
Yeah.
With the stick figures?
Stick figures.
Yep.
Yeah. That was very cool. That was,
Yeah.
I like that. So I'd have to say I'd have to have 2 pieces of equipment.
Hey, that's awesome. Now, I wanted to ask you, Regina, have you saw the new one, the XLS camera?
I've seen it on TV. I have not seen it in person.
Okay.
And a lot of things, what people don't realize is this equipment is expensive. This hobby is expensive. We don't get to go into these locations for free. They charge us. The equipment that we have is hundreds upon thousands of dollars. It's not a cheap hobby.
No, it's not.
It's not. I mean, look at the Panasonic DR60 recorder. That recorder from the 90s is going for like $4,000 to $6,000 right now. That is disgusting. Just 2 years ago, it was only like $1,000 to buy one. Even that is outrageous. But to go from 1,000 to now 6,000 is just beyond belief. But I mean, you can't get them anymore, so I understand the scarcity. But you're right, the equipment does cost a lot. But the reason why I wanted to ask you about the XLS is because basically it's just the upgraded version to the newest Xbox camera technically. But my buddy who's on the show most of the time, they're from relatively paranormal, and they come on and they actually have their own store where they build equipment and they sell the SLS for $289, tablet, everything built for you. They sell the XLS too for a little bit cheaper than you would see everywhere else. So if you're ever interested in it, I'll send you the link over and you guys can check it out. It has great equipment. They do great builds on everything, and they're great people, husband and wife team. They do everything from their home, so it's great stuff. So I'll send that over for you guys.
Yes,
Definitely check
please
it out.
do.
I
Please
will.
do.
Yeah.
I will.
Regina, I just wanted to say you should have your producers look at the Holy Cross Abbey down in Canyon City.
Okay.
They have a sister's house that you guys can stay in while you
Mm-hmm.
investigate. His name is Dennis. He's in charge of the paranormal investigations there. It's a great place. I'm sure your team member that's in Colorado Springs has heard of it. It's about 40 minutes from her. So
Okay.
yeah, you
Do
should.
they have a website, social media? Is it all under
Yeah,
Holy Cross
yeah,
Abbey?
yeah.
Okay.
Simply Ghosts or yeah, he goes live there all the time. I can ask Chris.
There.
Hey, Chris, put in the link to Dennis so that
I was gonna
if they
say, if
want to
worst
get
comes to worst, just message me and I'll send it to them in the email when we get off,
yeah,
so they
yeah,
have all the
definitely
emails.
got
So
to check it out. They got
yeah,
3 huge buildings you can investigate. So
Yeah, we're like I said, the production team is scouting locations that, are we'd love to have multiple buildings. So that sounds like that's what that is. Just
yeah,
so that we can break up and not contaminate each other. So yeah,
oh
if
yeah,
you guys can send me that information, that would be great.
yeah. Here
absolutely.
he said it's called What's Up Gramps on social media. His name is Dennis Batchelor. He's the one in charge of it. So
Okay.
but he's a fantastic guy, and he doesn't charge an arm and a leg for the locations. He lets me come
Okay.
down whenever, so I'm sure he can work something out with you guys. But it's a
Great.
really great location. So
Okay. We'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
yeah,
Wonderful.
and,
Yeah, no, I thank you guys so much. I wanted to I was trying to switch what I just wrote on here because I realized when I put up the banner, I put up the other side and it's the others side. So I
Yeah.
didn't want to mess that up for you guys. So I apologize. I just realized that now. I'm thinking to myself, oh, what an idiot I am. So hold on, let me take that down. And let me just have you guys tell our viewers once again where they can find you out before you go. And once again, I want to thank you guys so much for coming on. And we would love to have you guys come on again if you guys would
No,
be
we'd,
willing
we'd
to.
love to. Thank you for having us.
No problem.
All of our social media is under the others side with an S on others. Our website is Creep Street Production, and then it has a tab for the others side where you can watch the trailer. Our pilot episode is streaming right now on Paraflix, which is a paid streaming company. And then also Amazon Prime, which anybody can watch it on Amazon Prime. It is a $2 rental. So it's fairly inexpensive, and we'd love for you guys to come out and support us, follow our social media, watch our episode, and give us any feedback.
Yeah, please do. And please let them know when you go over there and visit their site. Let them know you saw them on Talking with the Source and show them some love. Everybody who's watching and who will listen on all the podcast listening platforms, definitely check out The Others Side from
yeah, I'm
www.creepstreetproductions.com.
watching it once we're off here. I'm getting on my
Right on
Amazon.
Paraflix, Amazon Prime. I'm going to watch it right now myself. So thank you guys again so much for coming on. We really appreciate
Thank
you
you.
seriously so much. And thank you for sharing all your knowledge with us and more. Steve, I would love to get in touch with you to talk with you further about some things. So can I reach you through the email that I was messaging? Was that all right? Or
I can forward him your email. Not a problem.
okay. Okay, thank you so much. Well, I
Mhm.
appreciate you guys. Before we leave, I'm going to show their teaser one more time for you guys. But just want to say thank you so much. And until next time, we really appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. All right, guys. So before we leave, I just want to say, man, what did you think? What did you think before I play this teaser, man? Because I tell you what, this was an awesome show. Such awesome people, man.
Dude, I was in awe, man. They're fabulous people. What they're doing is fabulous. You know, anything that we could do to help them grow, bring them on the shows all the time. Whatever we
Yeah,
can do to help, I want
yeah.
to help them
Please.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see them grow and go huge because they're bringing so much different cultures and beliefs and everything together. And like I've been telling you, and we've been talking about for so long on the show, like that is what it's all about. It's all about bringing people together because that's how we're going to further this field and find the answers we all want to know.
Era unity.
Yeah, very unity. Yeah, there you go. Well, guys, this is the others side teaser. They are on Paraflix and they are also on Amazon Prime. And here is the teaser right now for you to check it out. Until next time, my name is AJ Capasso, host of Talking with the Source, with my other host and best friend, Jonathan Keyworth of JK47 Paranormal Investigations. Real quick, brother, shout out your podcast so we can play this teaser and get it going.
All right.
Come on.
So you can see me do live spirit box sessions every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 12:05 my time, or 12 p.m. my time. What I do is I use my spirit box. I work on cold cases, try to get their spirits to come through and, say what happened. I've caught in a lot of crazy stuff. AJ's a witness to it.
Yeah.
This next week will be the last session for DJ Slick Rick Buchanan. He was found decapitated at his home in January of this year. So I've been trying to help him and his family and friends figure out what happened. So, but this will be my last session on Tuesday for him. And then I'm going to try to talk to Nicholas Tesla.
Nikola Tesla, yeah. Amen. Well, hey, why not try it, right? Why not try something? I mean, collective consciousness we can tap into, so let's do it, right?
Yeah. You want to show them the clip?
We're showing the clip right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is The Other's Side. Check them out.
Where are you?
Are you afraid to cross over?
That's not a human spirit.
I still say he's got followers.
Yeah, that's saying get out.
Isolation, addiction.
I just got a bad feeling about letting whatever that is out.
Were you ever a being of the light?
Have you seen Chris?
Just the energy of pain and anguish.
It's like it's almost hard to breathe.
Hey, I need to get out of here.
I'm giving you a warning not to go back down there.
I'm upset now.
Okay.
Felt like every door that you passed, there was something going to reach out and grab you.
I'm scared. I'm not.